www.seancardavillis.co.ke.
President Vladimir Putin has said that the absence of some Russian stars at the Rio Olympic Games would hit the quality of the competition, and Putin was speaking to Russian competitors at a ceremony in the Kremlin. Here's BBC Sport with more details, starting with Putin.
The current situation came out of not just legal boundaries but also common sense. A deliberate campaign which targeted our athletes included double standards and a principle of collective responsibility, or as it was said, a cancellation of the presumption of innocence. That's incompatible with sport and in general with justice and elementary rules of law. We cannot agree with a groundless disqualification of our track and field athletes who, I'd like to underline, have an absolutely clean doping history. We cannot and will not accept an obvious discrimination. This doesn't correspond at all with the principles of the Olympics. I think your colleagues from other world-leading sports states understand too. Although they don't say openly what is understandable, that the quality of their medals will be different, because it is one thing to win a competition with an equal, strong rival and totally another to compete with those who clearly have a lower class than you. Such a victory has a totally different taste.
Meanwhile, Russia's fencing, volleyball and triathlon teams are the latest to have been cleared to compete at the Rio Olympics by the sport's world governing bodies. That after the IOC ruled that individual federations should decide if Russians can compete at the Games, following the report into state-sponsored doping in the country. Our sports news correspondent Richard Conway says that despite their ruling, the IOC will still have a say in who goes to Rio.
Even if those federations do clear them, the IOC have appointed a court arbiter from the Court of Arbitration of Sport to review the numbers that are being sent or the proposed athletes that are being sent. So a final call is still to be made. Nevertheless, there is a sign of confidence within Russia now that they've breached the worst of this crisis. Vladimir Putin meeting with some of the Russian Olympic team today before they head off to Brazil. So there will be a Russian team at that opening ceremony on August 5th. It's just a question of how many.
Meanwhile, IOC President Thomas Bach has defended his organization's decision not to ban Russia outright.
We just also had the opportunity to discuss with some athletes, and I think the general feeling is that it is appreciated that on the one hand we are sanctioning a system, but on the other hand we give athletes who were not part of the system the opportunity to demonstrate this, and then to be allowed to take part in the Olympic Games, because this is what it is about, to protect the clean athletes all over the world. And all the athletes I have met here were very appreciative of this approach.
Now, Manchester City are in talks with Everton over the possible signing of England defender John Stones, and a deal is yet to be agreed, but it's thought the two Premier League clubs are not far apart in their valuations. World number one Jason Day has said he's running on empty as he prepares to defend his US PGA title, and the Australian has played only one practice round at Baltusrol after spending Tuesday night in hospital with his wife who had an allergic reaction.
I think if you try a little bit too hard sometimes, you can kind of shoot yourself in the foot, and I think that's what I did in the first, two majors. The Open Championship has always kind of been a difficult one for me, with the limited practice and limited prep that I've had this week. I'm not coming into this week expecting a lot. I mean, I'm expecting to win, but I'm not really going out there going, you need to go out there and forcing straight away. I've got to really try and manage my patience out there, because I have very little patience right now.
Sean Cardavillis, the voice of sport.